I spent 20 years in Hollywood working as an assistant director, and now I'm going to tell the tales. Marcia, solve this problem, said my boss. It was 1981 in Austin, Texas. I'm working on the movie The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas as a lowly apprentice assistant director. The company had a huge problem, which just became my personal responsibility. Not only did we have no way to transport 22 key employees to the job site, we faced a potential publicity disaster and legal action since the problem involved discrimination against LGBTQ employees, as well as a possible strike or rebellion by those employees. The situation was complicated and serious. The solution devised by the crack production team was to hand the problem to their least experienced, least qualified member, a person with absolutely no authority, me. When I got the job on The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, I was overjoyed. It was a major feature film starring Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. It was a musical based on a Broadway show. The director was one of my Hollywood heroes, screenwriter Colin Higgins. He had written one of my favorite films, the sweet and original Harold and Maude. Whorehouse wasn't his first directing effort. He also directed the wonderful 9 to 5, also with Dolly Parton, and Foul Play, both of which he also wrote. I had just come off months on a bad TV series that consisted of car chases and motorcycle stunts. I was thrilled to be working on a major feature with real actors. I loved the movies. I wanted to make movies. I aspired to a career in Hollywood. I had worked very hard to be selected as a trainee in the Directors Guild of America's Assistant Director Training Program, which seemed to be the only way to get into the business of movies for a person with no connections. I was on a path to become a full-fledged assistant director member of the Directors Guild. What do assistant directors do? Well, what they don't do is go get coffee or run errands for the director. That's the job of the director's personal assistant. The official job description of assistant director is assistant directors handle all the logistical and administrative problems of production, so the directors only have to solve creative problems because they have plenty of those. Assistant directors do all the planning and scheduling and communication of pre-production. With the production manager or the line producer, they do budgeting and hiring. When the principal photography begins, they run the set and keep the production on schedule and thus on budget. During principal photography, assistant directors do whatever it takes to get the shot safely, following union rules, and in the most cost-effective way. I was a beginner at all of this, but eager to learn and willing to give it my best shot. On Whorehouse, principal photography began in Austin, Texas. After the exterior shots were completed, we planned to return to the Universal lot and shoot the interior. I was excited to embark on my first distant location, where I stayed in a hotel with the cast and crew, including 22 male dancers, 18 female dancers, a choreographer, and dance captains. We set up offices in the Austin Airport Hilton, where we were staying. The Whorehouse set was a Victorian mansion in the small community of Pflugerville, a little more than 10 miles outside of Austin. The plan was that the cast and crew would travel by van from the hotel to the set every day. When the dancers and choreographer arrived, dance rehearsals began in a school gymnasium close to the hotel. On a distant location, all vehicles are driven by members of the Teamsters Union. The transportation captain, also a Teamster, had come from Los Angeles, and he would oversee the whole movie, although he was hiring local Teamsters from Texas for the Austin portion. That saves money and airfare. A couple of days before the principal photography was to begin, the transportation captain told the production manager and the first AD, we have a problem. The local Texas Teamsters had informed him, "We ain't driving no faggots in our vans." In 1981, in Austin, the most liberal city in Texas, the drivers refused to transport the male dancers because they assumed the dancers were gay. Just for the record, 18 of them were gay and 4 were not. Also, for the record, the director was gay, but the drivers never figured that one out. That was when the key second AD said, "Marcia, solve this problem." In the script, the dancers were supposed to be a college football team that traveled to games and to patronize the whorehouse in a funky old school bus. We had a bus to be photographed. Normally, picture vehicles, those vehicles that will be photographed as part of the story, are not used for anything else, for good reason. The script is shot out of order, and the vehicle has to look the same in every scene. If the vehicle was damaged, it would not match the previously photographed scenes, which could be anywhere in the script. I asked the production manager and the transportation captain, "Can I use the picture bus?" And they put their heads together and decided that in this emergency situation, I could, since the bus was beat up anyway. And so far so good. I had a vehicle that could transport all the dancers, and I just needed a driver. I asked the transportation captain if I could interview the drivers. He ushered me or steered me towards some likely candidates. I found one who agreed to drive the bus. This brave soul was a teacher who was just worked as a Teamster during the summer, so his rebellion would not affect his primary source of income. He was a lovely, open-minded Texan. Once I secured the vehicle and a driver, the problem was solved so long as the dancers agreed to do everything together. At this point, the second AD put me in charge of all the male dancers. I was to go everywhere with them, take responsibility for getting them all where they needed to go when they needed to be there. As we boarded our funky bus after wrap on the first day of principal photography, Colin Higgins, the director, climbed aboard. He said, "Gentlemen, I want to thank you for a great day's work. I know that this is not an ideal situation for you, and I really appreciate your professionalism, your cooperation under these circumstances. Thank you for making my job easier and for putting the production first. You're all fabulous." The dancers gave him a big round of applause. He waved goodbye and exited the bus, and everyone was in a buoyant mood on the drive back to the hotel. The next day after work, Burt Reynolds got on the bus. "Hey guys, you're doing a fabulous, fantastic job. It's a pleasure to have such professional people on our team. Thanks for having such a great attitude, and it's going to be a terrific show." The dancers answered with whoops and hollers, and Burt departed and headed for his luxury dressing room bus. The guys were in a good spirits on the ride back to the hotel. On the next day, Dolly Parton, wearing jeans and a plaid flannel shirt, came on board. She put her hands on her hips and she scanned the wildly cheering dancers. "Well, I have just never seen so many handsome men in one place in my life. Can I ride this bus?" The dancers shouted their approval. Dolly rode the bus all the way back to the hotel. She sat on each dancer's lap, asked him his name and where he was from. She felt biceps, caressed cheeks, tousled hair, and asked, "How's your mama?" The guys loved it. From that day on, our funky bus was the coolest place to be on the whole set. Everyone wanted to ride the bus. All the actors took a turn. Dom DeLuise was a frequent rowdy passenger who proceeded to chase dancers down the hotel hallways. We even took our magic bus on Sunday afternoon outings. We went to the movies and we went skating at the mall. My guys made me laugh. Our rides became rolling parties. Dolly magically transformed a difficult situation into its opposite.